The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Good morning. Court Radio is now in session. Call 215-227-2727. When you've got legal questions, we've got the answers. This is Court Radio. And now here's your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning, and welcome to Court Radio. Wow, that was weird. I'm Dean Weitzman, and this is Court Radio Live. It is April the 3rd, the first Sunday of April, 2016. And folks, it is cold, cold, cold outside. Stick around, stay warm, turn up the heater. Thought you'd be done with that, huh? And listen to an episode of Court Radio where I'll answer your legal questions one at a time. All you got to do is give me a call at 215-227-2727. 215-227-2727 gets you in the door, and I will tackle your questions one at a time. It's been a little while since I've been live and on the air, so I'm sure there's a lot of people out there with some questions that they need answers to. We're also going to be joined later in the show with our favorite chiropractor, Joe McAfee from West Philly Associates, who's been a sponsor of Court Radio for quite a while. We're really happy to have them here. So we're going to talk about chiropractic questions, injuries, why you see a chiropractor and what they can do for you and what they can't do. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, let's talk some news. It looks like Villanova is on the high road to taking the national championship. You know, somebody asked me before the game whether they were going to win. I said, I think they have all the tools to win. If they bring their desire along with those tools, they're going to be unstoppable. And boy, oh boy, did they show desire last night with a huge 95-51 win over the Oklahoma Sooners, who went home. Oklahomers went home in disgrace. There's just no other way to put it. It was a trouncing. So, Jay Wright said at the end, I'm happy we had one of those games where we just make every shot. And that is what they did. So I guess my prediction is that they take the national championship. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, on a more serious note, the White House commutes a life sentence for a Philadelphia drug convict, along with about 61 other offenders who got caught up in a law that was passed about 20 years ago or so in the sentencing guidelines that was a three-strike and you're outlaw. And so this fella had three fairly, routine drug cases. And on case number 4, he sold some drugs, not that big a deal. It wasn't that much. We're not talking about, he wasn't moving like pounds and pounds of crack cocaine. It was a small bag of cocaine. But because he had 3 strikes, he went to prison for life. And he's been there for 18 years now. And the president has commuted his sentence along with 61 other similarly situated individuals. The sentencing guidelines, the federal sentencing guidelines are designed to put people away for a very, very long time. And they're not in the least bit rehabilitative. I think that, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, we need to spend 10 times more money for rehab than we do currently, a lot more money than we spend on incarceration. We need to give people incentives to get better. The carrot and the stick work. And I think we had it all twisted. It was a Republican agenda. And it's resulted in having the largest prison population in the free world. Ha ha. Congratulations, United States of America. the largest prison population in the free world. And we're no safer, we're no less drug addicted than we ever were. We could learn a lesson from a country like Portugal that's in essence legalized every single substance known to mankind. And when you fall off the wagon there's a rehab like every other block. And guess what? Crime has gone down. And they spend virtually nothing locking people up anymore for these non-violent offenses. And then we can spend all the money and all our resources on violent offenders. And wow, what a better country we would have. But that's just one man's opinion. Anyway, I'll get off of my soapbox now. 215-227-2727. That's the number to call. And let's talk to John from Jackson, New Jersey. Good morning, John, and welcome to Court Radio.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm well, thanks. Where's Jackson?
Jackson would be right smack in the center of New Jersey. If you've ever heard of Great Adventure, that's where we are.
Oh, absolutely. Perfect. Got it.
There you
Sometimes when I go to visit my friend David, who lives down in Forked River, I go in that direction. From my house in upper Philadelphia, Bucks County. It's easier to go up that way rather than play with that South Jersey traffic.
Exactly right. Yes, you head out that way-ish.
All right, what's your question today?
All right, here's what's taking place. I was recommended to speak with you by a good friend last evening in light of the situation that I'm currently facing. About a year ago, I was out of work and on the verge of becoming homeless, and I had to move in with my mother. I'm 58 years old. My mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's a few years back, but she invited me with open arms. My brother and sister, both of whom were adopted, have been looking after her. My brother has lived in the house his entire life. He just turned 50 this past September. What I come to find out is that, number one, my mother deeded my brother the house right after she was diagnosed, so as to preserve it as an asset within the family. But she pretty much gave it to him. My brother and sister both now see me as a complete and total threat to their inheritance, despite the fact that I have no designs on anything whatsoever. All I'm looking for is basically a place for myself and my cats to be safe. That's it. So my brother has been doing his level best with some very, very twisted behavior to get me out. And our last conversation was him screaming at me, "Get out," and me telling him, "Look, the police told you 4 months ago you have to file an eviction notice." He refuses to do it. So as of this weekend, ostensibly, he is throwing my stuff out. I should also mention parenthetically here that I have been sleeping in my car since Thanksgiving, because the night before Thanksgiving, my brother lit it up on my mother when he told her, "I want him out." And she told him to knock it off. So in deference to my mother's well-being, I said, all right, time for me to be scared. Well, he's now using that against me, saying he doesn't live here anymore. He told the local police here that I don't even receive my mail there, which I found rather curious because I've never changed my mailing address. And lo and behold, I come to find that what he's been doing is tearing up my mail and throwing it in the garbage. So having found that out, I reached out to pretty much everybody I could, the Postal Inspector's Office, the FBI, the State Attorney General, the Prosecutor's Office, the New Jersey State Police, all of whom said, "Gee, that's really sad," and hung up.
Yeah. They see it as a family dispute. They're not going to get in the middle of it. They don't see it as a federal criminal, problem with the destruction of the U.S. mail.
Right.
And in fact, if you're not living in the house but in your car, the question then becomes whether you truly do have a legal right to have mail delivered to the house any longer. that probably was a mistake on your part to move into your car. On the other hand, it sounds like it was an untenable family situation. The problem you have is that the house is in his name, and unless you could undo that transfer, then he has the right to have whomever he wants live in the house. And if you continued to live there, which you don't, but if you did, he could file for eviction, and it would get you maybe another few months while that process went on. But in essence, you've jumped out of the house early by living in the car. And so, but here's the deal. I got the whole picture. What's the question?
My question is, what, if any, real recourse do I have here? My mother, I've enlightened her to the fact that, this is what...
When did the transfer of the house from mom to son occur?
I believe it was shortly after my mother was diagnosed.
Okay. Well, if it was after your mother was diagnosed, and you could prove that, and you could prove that upon diagnosis and thereafter she was incompetent, then you could have that transfer voided, in which case the home would remain in your mother's name and you would have an ownership interest as her child upon her passing. That, having said that, is a very costly and expensive road to hoe. I've gone down that road for clients and had full-blown trials over somebody's competency, hiring expert psychiatrists and physicians to show that there was organic brain disorder and that it occurred at a certain time and all decisions thereafter were not made with sound mind. But, that takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of money, and it's probably more than you have if you're living in your car, to be honest.
Exactly right. In my case, I'm receiving confirmation a little bit later today that I finally just picked up a great job.
Oh, that's wonderful news, John.
So that's going to hopefully turn things around, but I still need about 6 weeks to 2 months to put some money behind me so I can get an apartment.
Right.
Whether or not I'm actually going to be given that grace period, and from the sound of things, I highly doubt it, which then leaves me wondering, okay, so you're just going to throw me out?
Yeah, well, I think that 6 weeks isn't all that long a time, and if he files something to have you removed from the property, you probably can file something in defense that will delay this 6 weeks. That would be my guess. But I got to run. I want to thank you for calling Court Radio. Thanks for sharing your story, and give us a call back and let us know how that new job works out.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right, take care, John. 215-227-2727. The phones are lighting up, folks. If you've got legal questions, you better jump on now because things are heating up. In the meantime, let's talk to Joe McAfee. Good morning, Joe, and welcome to Court Radio.
Good morning, Dean.
I want to get right up to that microphone there, Joseph.
Good morning, Dean.
There you go. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, thanks. It's not your first rodeo on Court Radio, so let's just jump into it. You work over at West Philly Associates, sponsor of Court Radio, and you've been there for about 8 years. And I've had a lot of clients who have treated over the years with West Philly Associates, and you know what? They all love you. No, I'm serious, Joe. Yeah. I get complaints about doctors all the time. Clients will call and say, hey, the doctor is not treating me right, and he's not listening to me. I don't get those complaints when it comes to you. Like, you seem to have a really good rapport with your patients. How do you do that?
Well, I fell in love with West Philadelphia when I got there, and it was actually about 10 years ago. And I love the people. I love the area. I love what I do, and what I do makes a difference. So it's not really a job for me. It's really what I'm called to be. I'm called to be a healer,
Wow, and I think that's conveyed to your patients because they all feel like you listen to their complaints and really work with them to solve their problems.
Yeah, people when they get in accidents, they come in and they're a lot of times they're still in the accident. They're still shook up by it, and they just want to get calmed down about it and and the first person they talk to usually is me in the next day or two. And I've got a lot of compassion for what people have been through, and you know.
Do all of your patients at the end of this process, however long it takes, do they all get to the point where they're back to their pre-injury status?
I don't know about all, but that's our commitment. Our commitment is to restore them to where they were. Even beyond that, we actually want to get them better than they were before the accident. But we do most of them. Yeah.
Some people have permanent limitations as a result of some nasty injuries.
They do. And the body is a self-healing machine, but there are limits to it. So,
what types of treatment does the normal client or patient receive when they come in for the first time?
Well, first we do a full-blown examination, and then we want to use our therapy techniques like heat and electrotherapy and massage tables to kind of calm everything down. And then we introduce chiropractic adjustments, which is really at the heart of what we do.
Do you actually put hands on a body and adjust patients?
I do.
No, you don't.
Yes.
Really? Well, like, people, the people who are not in the business, I guess, they consider that like what they say, did you get your back cracked?
Yes.
And you do that?
Yes. In fact, my mother used to say, Dr. Mack will crack your back.
There you go.
Had me shaking my head for years. Stop saying that, Mom. So we call it an adjustment, a chiropractic adjustment. Yes, but that's what I do. And then I also use an instrument that is a little more gentle that people like as well. So both the instrument and my hands work. My hands work a little bit better, but
wow.
I use both.
Could you like adjust me right now while I'm standing here on the microphone?
I think a table would help.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna order a chiropractic table for the next interview with you because I want a full adjustment while we're doing the show. Folks, if you've got questions for Joe McAfee, all you got to do is give us a call at 215-227-2727. Have you ever seen a chiropractor, and was it a good experience or a bad experience? And Joe might be able to comment on that. We got callers lined up. Let's take another listener, Joe, and then we'll come back. Let's talk to Charles from Willingboro. I think everybody in Willingboro, Charles, listens to Court Radio. Charles.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I think it's a requirement. If you live in Willingboro, you have to listen to Court Radio, and so I'm happy to see that you're playing along with my requirement.
I hope so.
All right, I didn't mean to put you off. How are you this morning, Charles?
Yeah. Well, what I'm calling about is I work for a quasi-federal, quasi-state entity here in Jersey, and we have a new executive director. And he came in late last year, and I had a promotion about maybe 5-6 years ago. He came in, and I received a letter telling me that he's changing my position and basically demoting me to a previous position I had with that rate of pay. Is that legal?
The answer to that is, as you may have heard before, the term at-will employee or at-will employment. Most of us are just that, at-will employees, and have little to no rights to our job, let alone the classification of our job. And so the answer would be yes, with one caveat. I got to use caveat this morning. I'm so happy. With one caveat, and that is you have to follow the rules you've made. So most employees in big, medium-sized companies are subject to employee handbooks. There's rules, how you're hired, how you're fired, how you're promoted, how you're punished, and these rules have to be adhered to by your employer. And so if you have an employee handbook and they violated your rules, then you may have a basis upon which to bring a complaint. But absent that, no, you don't have much rights as an employee in America. If you're not a member of a union and you don't have an employee handbook, you're kind of subject to the will and whim of your employer, be it good, bad, or indifferent. Charles?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
I know. I didn't tell you what you wanted to hear, probably. Or maybe I just confirmed what you already knew, but, that's just the way it is.
Okay.
All right, Charles. Take care, buddy. Thanks for calling us. Have a great Sunday. 215-227-2727. So, Joe, we're sitting here with Joe McAfee, chiropractor to the stars at West Philly Associates. Things have changed over the last few months at West Philly. I mean, internally, you've gotten some improvements going on there. Tell us a little bit about what's happening.
Well, we renovated the entire floor, I guess, of the building that we're in, and put in new carpet and new paint, and the place cleaned up the place, and it's looking sparkling.
And what happens when somebody comes, like a mom comes, and they've got kids? What is that a problem for you guys?
No, we have a playground in the front of the building. We've got toys and all kinds of things.
That's really cool. I mean, a lot of places don't consider that, and therefore their patients have a harder time getting in for therapy,
right,
and they're not getting the therapy they need.
Yep.
You've kind of, West Philly Associates has found a way around that by bringing a little gym, a little playroom into the. Do you adjust the children too?
I can adjust children, but not in the playroom. No.
Okay.
I end up playing in the playroom a little bit, but
that's good. Okay, but we leave the adjustments to the patients. So adjustments occur, some ultrasound and electric therapies of sorts. What else?
Then exercise, and then as soon as we can get them pain-free enough to do some exercise, we start with a very active approach, and we have a series of exercises that we teach the patients. There's some machines we have, one of which is a exercise machine that I invented and patented about 15 years ago.
We talked about that last time, but right. I'm sure there are folks who are listening now who weren't listening then. You patented a machine?
Yeah.
And that you use in your line of work?
Yeah.
And do you use it at West Philly Associates, this machine?
I do. We have two of them there. Yeah.
What's it called? Is it called the McAfee machine?
It's close. It's called the Power Stretcher.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's real close. A Power Stretcher.
Yeah.
What is it? How does it work?
Well, it combines two things. So we want to get some strengthening going and some stretching. So we use some very big springs, some very long, big springs, and they're hooked up to a chassis which moves on wheels. And it allows the person to start to move the joints through a full range of motion. And when that happens, the joints, the muscles, the tendons, and the ligaments start to relax. And the joint can get restored to its full motion, and the pain disappears. And I designed it for people that had been in injuries. So there's a lot of places to hold on. So bars and handles and things like that, so people can feel safe while they're exercising.
I don't want to get off on a tangent, but there's a lot of people that call me and wonder, how do you get something patented? So how long ago did you have this idea? Where did it come from, and how did it result? You actually have a United States registered patent.
Right. How
did that happen?
Well, I've studied exercise my whole life, and I watched Pilates. There's Pilates machines that I got intrigued with when I was younger, and I learned how to do all the Pilates exercises. But Pilates was designed for dancers and people of great athletic skills.
I haven't tried that yet at the gym I go to. I'm scared of that room.
Right.
But I'm going to do it.
It's great. It's really great.
Does it?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But it's not necessarily for people who've been hurt or injured or older. And I thought I could take the idea of his machine and then adapt it to what I do, which is to get people who have been hurt restored to health. So I incorporated an idea, and then.
Did you actually sketch the idea out?
I sketched it, and then I had a patient who is a welder, and him and I put our heads together, and it took about a year for us to get the thing going. Then I made a prototype and then a second one. And then actually after we made the machine, we found out what kind of exercises to do in it. So it wasn't like we were sure how to use it, but once we had it in existence, then we started to play around with it. We came up with about 35 exercises. So it's fun. It's easy to do.
Are you the only one in America who actually uses your machine?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the only, well, no, I've sold some of them. That's not true. There are some people that have them in their houses and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Are they hand-signed
That's right.
McAfee machines?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
They're going to be handed down through the generations.
Collector's item. 215-227-2727. Let's talk to Ronald from North Philadelphia. Hi, Ron.
Good morning.
Do you like Ron or Ronald? Which would you prefer?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. How about Ron?
Okay, that's my name. That's my name.
Can I call you?
The question that I have for you is, I had a case against the city, and I settled February the 12th. I settled New Year's, and I signed a release on February the 12th. And I was just wondering, according to law or city, I wasn't able to get an answer from my attorney because he's been very busy. I try to have patience. How long does it take to get paid?
Okay, well, that's. I'll give you the general answer to that. Generally, in Philadelphia, there's a Philadelphia local rule, 229.1, I think. I probably got that wrong, but there's a local rule that says you have 20 days from the delivery of the release to pay the settlement funds. 20 days. Now, that rule customarily doesn't apply to the city of Philadelphia. They've kind of had a carve-out for them, and they take a little longer. Maybe 30 days. Maybe 40 days. But that's about it. Now,
40 days, well, it's 55 days now.
Yeah, it's too long. It's too long, but there are certain exceptions that could delay it. For instance, if you have a child support obligation that's been uncovered after you were involved in this accident, then that could delay the receipt of funds because they have to work out the payment of the child support. If there's taxes owed to the city of Philadelphia, let's say you own a home and you have real estate taxes and you owe the city for past taxes, they could snatch that tax money right out of your settlement. Now, I'm not saying any of that applies to you, but we have a lot of listeners, and I want people to know that these are not black and white rules. I can tell you that, yes, usually somewhere between 20 and 40 days is enough time, and if it's not there by then you can file a document with the court, demanding that they release the settlement funds. And I've done that. I've had to file those documents on many occasions. So, I would say you're at the point now, almost 2 months, where you should have the money unless there's some bona fide reason why you have to wait, which is, like I said, child support, taxes, something of that nature. But if none of that applies to you, then you should be telling your attorney to file a petition to enforce the settlement.
Okay. That's good enough for me.
Ronnie from North Philly. God bless and have a great Sunday. Thanks for calling Court Radio. All right. Take care, buddy. 215-227-2727. That's the number to call. Folks, I've got Joe McAfee in the studio from West Philly Associates, chiropractor to the stars. If you've got chiropractic questions, if you've got injury questions, you've been involved in an accident and you're not sure if things are going the way they're supposed to go for your type of injury, now's the time to give us a call. Joe will tackle your questions right along with me. But in the meantime, we got to take this break, and we'll be back after our sponsors have their say.
You were just hurt. It's not your fault. You're in physical pain. How do you get better? Who is going to help you recover? West Philadelphia Associates has highly trained doctors and staff that can help you today. Don't wait at a hospital. West Philadelphia Associates will work with your attorney, providing documentation of all injuries and the best plan for treatment to get you back to the life you deserve. With diagnostic studies to better detect injuries, West Philadelphia Associates doctors and staff will help you recover. West Philadelphia Associates, here to help you get better because you deserve it. Call 215-471-4714.
For 20 years, Center City Medical Center has provided premium expert medical services for Philadelphia. Whether you need musculoskeletal rehab or an immigration physical, call 888-945-EXAM. Our board-certified physicians have more than 80 years' experience from post-injury rehab to DNA paternity testing. To make an appointment at one of our 3 convenient locations, call 888-945-EXAM. Get premium expert care. Center City Medical Center, serving Northeast, North, and Center City, Philadelphia. If you've been injured on the job and are entitled to workers' comp, you need someone fighting for you from the start. Call Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law. Don't rely on your employer or insurance company to get it right. Call 215-512-1500. If you're entitled to workers' comp or it's being challenged, Jeffrey Gross can help get the money you deserve, and he won't get paid unless you get paid. Call 215-512-1500. Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law, representing Pennsylvania's injured workers for more than 20 years. You've had an accident and can't work, but your legal case seems like it's taking forever, and the bills are piling up. At ThriveVest.com, we're here to help. If you have a pending lawsuit, call us at 888-697-7352. ThriveVest.com has flexible solutions to get you money now. And if your case doesn't settle or you don't receive an award, you owe us nothing. Call 888-697-7352. ThriveVest.com. Get the money you need to get on with your life.
The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Need more legal answers? Here's more Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning and welcome back. It's still Court Radio, and it's still Sunday, April the 3rd, and it is cold out. I think the temperature was, 29 degrees or so when I was coming down into the studio. So dress appropriately. You're going to need some warm clothes today. And it's windy. My goodness, I thought my house was going to blow away last night. It was so windy and rainy. So be careful out there, folks. But in the meantime, we got another half-hour Court Radio. And if you've got legal questions or you have questions for Dr. Joe, who's joined me from West Philly Associates, chiropractor to the stars in West Philly, you can ask those questions as well. In the meantime, you got to give us a call at 215-227-2727. And when Court Radio's not in session, you can get My Philly Lawyer at that same number. Somebody will help you, I promise you. Let's talk to Mike from Alany on line 1, Larry. Hi, Mike. Welcome to Court Radio. Thanks for holding on.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well, thanks. How's your back?
My back? It's wonderful ever since I got my epidural injection.
Epidurals? I'll have to ask Dr. Joe about that. Why did you have epidurals? Did you have a bad back, or were you in an accident?
Just bad back from over the years.
Yeah. Did you ever try a chiropractor?
I did. Chiropractors are great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But obviously, that wasn't enough for you. You had to do the epidural. I mean, I've got a lot of clients over the years who have had epidurals. It's where they actually put you under general anesthesia and put a needle into your spinal cord and give you an injection right at the site where you're having your problem.
I actually did mine without anesthesia, believe it or not.
Wow. What'd they do, give you a leather strap?
You stay very still.
Yeah, very, very still. Wow. That's a scary thought. All right. We got off on a tangent. I'm going to have to follow up with Dr. Joe on, but tell me why you're giving us a call, Mike from Alany.
All right. I have a real estate question. About 20-some years ago, my in-laws bought a house. and for whatever reason, they put it in their son's name. Well, actually, their son and his wife's name. Now, they don't live there, but I'm sorry, the son doesn't live there. They live there. They pay the taxes. They've been there for years. He moved down south maybe 10 years ago, and about maybe 5 years ago, they lost complete contact with them. They're getting older now, and they're thinking about selling the house, but they can't sell it because it's not in their name. So they want to know what they would have to do to get it back in their name, whether it be find him down south somehow. Is there something
Yes.
that they can do?
The easiest thing, the easiest thing to do at this point would be to find him, have him sign a deed, deeding the house back to them, because without that, it's his property, and they can't take it, they can't sell it, they can't do anything with it. There might be a claim for adverse possession. That takes me back to my college or law school days. Adverse possession is when somebody takes possession of a property and uses it entirely and against the rights of the owner of the property, and does that for a long enough period where they become the pseudo-owner, and the court recognizes that ownership in the form of adverse possession. But that's a costly and who knows if it'll go according to plan. That's a last resort kind of thing. My first and best legal advice is for them to locate their son-in-law or whoever it is, and to get him to sign a deed. Because obviously he's not thinking he's the owner of this property. He's not trying to put them out or anything, So
No, he's not. So if they find him, is that something he can just get notarized, like a power of attorney, or does he actually have to come back to Philadelphia?
No, he could sign a limited power of attorney for the purpose of transferring that house, so he doesn't have to come back. And, he has to meet with probably a notary in North Carolina or wherever he's living and get a document notarized, a limited power of attorney, and then also notarize and get it signed is the deed. So you need to have a deed created, and then you need this limited power of attorney, and then you could go to settlement without him actually being there. That happens all the time. In fact, I bought my last house, and the owner was in Florida and never showed up. So, the owner doesn't need to be here. But what you do need, more likely than not, is the help of a lawyer in drafting those documents and getting it done right. So I would suggest, if the family doesn't have a lawyer, to give our office a call at 215-227-2727. And when you do, ask for Saul, because Saul, he does all these real estate and estate planning and all that good stuff. And he's got a lot more patience than me. So you call Saul and he'll take care of it.
I better find Saul then.
There you go. All right. Take care.
Thank you. Appreciate it, gentlemen. Have a good day.
Take care, buddy. 215-227-2727. So Dr. Joe, he brings up epidural steroids. I've had many, it's a really, it used to be done rarely. Now it seems to be done a lot more. What happens to a patient who gets that? Like, what's the point of that therapy?
Well, usually it's cortisone. So cortisone's probably the world's best anti-inflammatory. So it's going to calm the situation down and take the inflammation down so that the body can just start to heal itself. So in a lot of cases, it is the way to go. It's something that can just give the body a chance to recover itself.
Usually done, though, after you've had some time with the patient to try to accomplish that in a less invasive fashion.
Yeah. You want to go natural first, and then drugs second, and then hopefully not surgery third. But
right, but it happens again. It happens. Right. Like you said, the body can only go so far before it's broken and it needs to be repaired in a more aggressive fashion.
Yep.
All right, I got other questions, but before I get to them, let's talk to a caller. Let's talk to Derek from Northeast Philly. Hi, Derek, and welcome to Court Radio.
Hello, how are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you, and thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. A quick question. My mother fell at a church function in Jersey. She hired a lawyer to take care of the case because she broke her hip and had to have surgery. I say within a year later, a lawyer came back and told her that she can't sue this church in Jersey. Is that a true statement?
Yes, most likely, but, again, I wish it were as easy as being able to have a hard and fast rule all the time. But Jersey has a special rule for charitable organizations. And if it's being used for a charitable purpose at the time of the fall, then more likely than not, they have immunity. That's what it's called.
Okay.
But again, there's it's not hard and fast. For instance, I'll give you a for instance. I represented somebody who fell on a battleship. The battleship is used for educational purposes and is recognized as a charitable organization. I sued the battleship, and they raised this immunity, and they said they can't be sued. And I said no, because at the time of the fall, the battleship was being rented out and being used as, to make money. It was, like a venue. And so I found a way around that law. But generally speaking, if it's being used for its charitable intents and purposes at the time, then you can't sue them in New Jersey. And that rule doesn't apply to Philadelphia or Pennsylvania. And sometimes these state rules can, be a sticky wicket. But I wish you the best of luck. I hope I answered your question. Have a great Sunday. Thanks for listening.
All right.
Take care, Derek. All right. It's amazing that so much information can be contained in one brain that then is conveyed to people calling on a Sunday morning with only, 3 hours of sleep. Just amazing. All right. Dr. Joe's in the house. We got questions. You are, let's rewind. You have been for about 10 years at West Philly Associates. Where's West Philly Associates located, and how do they call you? And I know you guys do a commercial on Court Radio, but let's talk about how they get in touch and how quickly can somebody be seen when they're injured.
Oh, well, we can see people right away. So as soon as you can schedule an appointment, we'll have you come in as fast as possible. We're at 37 South 60th Street, so 60th and Chestnut area. And the number is 215-471-4916.
Say that again, but a little slower this time, like you might actually want somebody to write it down.
215-471-4916.
Oh, okay. 471-4916. Yeah. So they call, and they've been in an accident. What if they're not being represented by me? I mean, there's 2 or 3 people still left in Philadelphia who aren't represented by me. What do those people do? Can they call you too, even though they're with some other lawyer?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. We take other lawyers.
Wow. You cheater. Okay. So let's talk to Gary from Burlington, New Jersey, who's got a back injury question. Hi, Gary, and thanks for calling with your question.
Good morning, gentlemen. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good.
Do you have a bad back, Gary?
To start off, I got a weak back.
A weak back.
Yeah. I had it for about a week back now.
A week back for a week back. That's pretty good.
I at least had to start that off with a good joke. But seriously, on the real tip, I got a real bad back injury, and I've been through all types of therapy, chiropractor, had injections twice or 3 times, and now my doctor wants to do surgery, which is scaring me because they want to put 6 screws in my back and cut me front and back, which is very scary. And they told me there was additional risk involved with that, and I really don't want to go that route. So I'm looking for another alternative, and is there anything else out there that I can get help with? I'm in pain almost every single day. I wake up in pain. Anything I do.
Did you give us your Gar? What's your official diagnosis? What?
Deteriorating bulging disc on the L4 and L5.
Deteriorating
Basically, I
and
got
bulging
bone.
discs.
Yeah.
Okay, bone
Yeah,
on. Are
I
you
got
bone on bone?
Bone on bone.
Bone
Yeah.
on bone at L4-5. It becomes a mechanical, like a mechanical issue at that point. If you've got, I presume, how does the nerves are coming out at each of these disc levels? Correct.
Right.
Yeah. And it's actually shooting down my legs and whatnot. Where,
The doctor talked about the necessity sometimes for surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it really is necessary. When the disc wear out like that, the bones collapse together, and then they're going to hit that sciatic nerve, and sciatic nerve is about the size of your little finger, and that's what controls your leg, and that's why you're getting the pain down your leg. And unless we can find a way to get that pressure off the nerve, then you're going to have to find.
Now, what have you had a chance to see a infomercial on your table that turns you upside down and supposed to be able to allow you to put fluid back in that area to build up the infusion and whatnot in there?
Yeah, I have not seen that. No.
Okay.
But again,
I just wanted to know if anybody
if there's
if it's working.
Gar, if you create this pressure relief by being upside down, okay, how long are you going to hang upside down? For a year? I mean, you can only do that for so long before your head explodes. So as soon as you come back up into an upright position, if there's no physical structure, if you're bone on bone, it's just going to, the two discs are going to just collapse again. I mean, I think that might work if you have some of that shock absorber still left in there. But if it's all gone and it's bone on bone, I would say that, let me just put it this way. Most of my clients who have that condition that you just described, bone on bone, where the nerve endings are being crushed by your own spine, they end up going the route of surgery and having a new disc created that puts something in there that creates that separation permanently.
Right. Yeah, that's what they want to do.
Yeah, that sounds like that's where you're headed, brother. But I wish you the best of luck, and thank you for calling Court Radio and being a listener to Court Radio. We appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
And your joke. Your weak joke. Thank you, brother.
All right.
All right. 215-227-2727. We got people calling and wanting to ask you questions, but we're going to take a quick break in a second. In the meantime, I want to ask you, this sounds crazy. Does nutrition actually play a part in healing people who have these back injuries?
Yeah, you are what you eat, as they say. So a lot of people are carrying too much, on one level, just carrying too much weight. It's too much pressure on the back. There's too much pressure on the disc. There's too much pressure. So I talk to people and coach them on getting rid of some of the, for the most part, sugar and starches that are, loading them up, and they feel better once they start cutting out some of the stuff that they know is not good for them. And sometimes they just need a little extra support and somebody tell them to give them a way to go, and that's what we do.
It's funny you mention that because I lost 40 pounds over the last 9 months, and I used to have a bad back, and now I don't.
There you go.
All right, we're going to be right back in 2 minutes. Stay tuned for Dr. Joe and Court Radio.
You were just hurt. It's not your fault. You're in physical pain. How do you get better? Who is going to help you recover? West Philadelphia Associates has highly trained doctors and staff that can help you today. Don't wait at a hospital. West Philadelphia Associates will work with your attorney, providing documentation of all injuries and the best plan for treatment to get you back to the life you deserve. With diagnostic studies to better detect injuries, West Philadelphia Associates doctors and staff will help you recover. West Philadelphia Associates, here to help you get better because you deserve it. Call 215-471-4714.
For 20 years, Center City Medical Center has provided premium expert medical services for Philadelphia. Whether you need musculoskeletal rehab or an immigration physical, call 888-945-EXAM. Our board-certified physicians have more than 80 years' experience from post-injury rehab to DNA paternity testing. To make an appointment at one of our 3 convenient locations, call 888-945-EXAM. Get premium expert care. Center City Medical Center, serving Northeast, North, and Center City, Philadelphia. If you've been injured on the job and are entitled to workers' comp, you need someone fighting for you from the start. Call Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law. Don't rely on your employer or insurance company to get it right. Call 215-512-1500. If you're entitled to workers' comp or it's being challenged, Jeffrey Gross can help get the money you deserve, and he won't get paid unless you get paid. Call 215-512-1500. Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law, representing Pennsylvania's injured workers for more than 20 years. You've had an accident and can't work, but your legal case seems like it's taking forever, and the bills are piling up. At ThriveVest.com, we're here to help. If you have a pending lawsuit, call us at 888-697-7352. ThriveVest.com has flexible solutions to get you money now. And if your case doesn't settle or you don't receive an award, you owe us nothing. Call 888-697-7352. ThriveVest.com. Get the money you need to get on with your life.
The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Need more legal answers? Here's more Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning and welcome back. It's Dean Weitzman, and this is Court Radio. Sunday, April the 3rd. A little chilly outside, folks. Hang tight. We've got a few more minutes of Court Radio. And I'm joined in the studio with my friend Dr. Joe at West Philly Associates, who treats some of our patients, our clients, who have been injured in auto accidents. Dr. Joe, welcome back to Court Radio.
Thanks, Dean.
Who pays for your care?
Well, as far as my understanding of it is that you work that out with the insurance companies. So you represent clients, and then you settle the cases, and then they get paid through the insurance companies.
Yeah, and most folks have some form of auto insurance, whether they're a guest passenger in somebody else's car or in a accepted vehicle or in their own vehicle. There's some form of auto insurance. And folks, when you've been involved in an accident, it's auto insurance, not health insurance, that has the primary responsibility to pay for your auto-related injuries. So if you see a doctor because you have a cold, they're not paying for that, even if it happens after the accident, unless the cold is caused by the auto accident. So for your neck and your back injuries, clearly those injuries are paid for by auto insurance. That's how it works. And so I would say to you, there's really nothing to lose, everything to gain. If you've been involved in an accident, you have the coverage, you should see a doctor. And why a chiropractor versus any other kind of doctor? Why is it that you folks seem to be cornering the market on these traumatic injuries?
Well, a lot of these traumatic injuries are joint injuries. So there's been, for the most part, they're sprain, strain kind of injuries, and then all the way up to more serious ones. But chiropractors have been treating joint injuries since 1895. That's as far back as we go, and we're good at it, and we get people out of pain as quick as possible. So. We're the experts.
There you go. The experts on joint pain. Let's talk to Kevin from Port Richmond on line 4, Lara. Hi, Kevin. Kevin's gone. He was very patient for a long time. Sorry, Kev. Try it again next week. Let's talk to Sherry from North Philly on line 2. Who's got a workers' comp question. Hi, Sherry. Welcome to Court Radio.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Are you staying inside and warm right now?
No, actually, no. I was on my way to the market right now.
Ah. Cold out, isn't it?
Very windy.
Yeah. All right. Well, I wish you have a good marketing experience. Tell me why you're calling Court Radio.
I'm calling because I had a workman's comp case that was originally paid and then denied. And so I had a lawyer. So just recently I got a letter from my HR department stating that I needed to go to my disability claim because I'm going to be out longer than the time allowed. But when I did apply for my disability through my employer, they told me that my employer had a provision in there that says once it's workman's comp, whether it's denied or not, it's always workman's comp. So it's like I'm in a catch-22.
Yeah,
It
sounds like it. Why? How did the workers' comp case end? Did they determine that this was not a work-related injury?
Yes. They really never said why. We did go to court. I guess that's what they're saying. It was just they paid me for 6 weeks and then they denied the claim.
Right.
But I have to get 2 surgeries on Wednesday because of this.
Right. And you actually, see, I don't know how far down you went with this workers' comp claim. Like, did you actually file a petition and go to a comp judge, and the comp judge said, no, I side with the employer. This is not a work-related injury.
No. What the comp judge said was set a date to give medical evidence.
Oh, but you haven't done that yet.
No, that's not until August. So that's it'll be over a year in August.
Right. And so, yes, in that case, this could still end up being a workers' comp claim, and in fact, may very well be a workers' comp claim if your workers' comp lawyer has strong belief that that the doctors can support your claim for that this is a work-related injury. So, but
I guess in the meantime, I couldn't get disability, something that I paid into for years, and then they could go in return and get the money from workman's comp so it could be some type of income.
That sounds like a wonderful plan and makes all the sense in the world. If only the world worked as we sensible people intended it to. Somebody needs to read your disability contract and read it carefully. And I would say I would task the workers' comp lawyer with that. You got a workers' comp lawyer. He's representing you. Right. I'd get him your disability contract and make sure he reviews that. But unfortunately, dear, we're just about out of time. I got to run. If you have any further questions, give us a call during the week.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Dr. Joe, we're out of time. West Philly Associates is a favored chiropractic center with My Philly Lawyer. And just one more time, how do people get in touch with you?
215-471-4916.
I know. I asked you the tough questions at the end. Yeah. Thank you so much for being a part of Court Radio. Have a great Sunday.